So 10 months ago, I started writing to a man who is an inmate on death row in the United States. That initiative in my life was actually born when I was 15 years old, and my lovely mom took me to see a documentary in the cinema about someone who was on death row and executed at the end. And that documentary had a massive impact on me as a 15 years old and must have touched a core linked to compassion, I expect. And that man must have mentioned that some people wrote to him whilst he was alive on death row, and how it had really helped him live his life in those very extreme circumstances. So a seed was planted in me when I was 15 years old, and I have to say it was blissfully forgotten until when I came to live in the UK 11 years ago, and I bumped into an advert in a magazine about the Lifelines organization who allows people to write to people on death row. So that was suddenly a reminder of like, oh wow, I actually really feel that's something I want to do, and that's something I'm going to do in my life at some point. Throughout those 11 years of being in England, from time to time I have seen that advert, and every time it did the same. Oh wow, I feel I should be doing that, or I feel I want to do that, but I never took action for whatever reason, whatever resistance, and whatever timing, because I really believe now there was a timing for me to do that. Last year, for some bizarre reason, this project very much came back to the front of my life, maybe because I got more and more involved with working around death. And I finally took action and contacted Lifelines. And when I received all that information about what they do and what is death row and what it entails to write to someone on death row, I have to be honest, I took all that information and put it in a drawer, and I was actually very scared. It really disturbed me, and I really doubted it was something I actually wanted to do. And I was wondering if I was going to embark again in some sort of drama in my life, something painful. So all of that went in a drawer, and I didn't want to even think about it. Throughout the course of another 6 months, it nonetheless came back to my awareness, and I realized, in fact, I had very powerful questions within myself that I had to answer before I would be capable of writing to someone on death row. For example, how can you befriend someone who is a murderer, in inverted comma and not in inverted comma? How can you befriend someone who at some point you know is going to be executed? So you're befriending someone who is like more or less dying of cancer. So again, it's like I had to answer that. How was I going to feel when he or she was going to be executed? And how was I going to feel about that system and his executors? So questions like that. So I think those questions were running in the back of my mind. I wasn't really consciously thinking about them, but I knew I had to resolve that in my life. By Christmas last year, for some reason, again, I arrived at a place of absolute peace with that project of mine. And I realized, yes, that's something I want to do, and I'm going to do it. So by January 2015, I sent my first letter to Robert, and very quickly, within 2 weeks, received his letter. And that was quite a moment to receive this big envelope, which was not sent to me, but to my Lifelines coordinator, and then she sends it to me. And from then on, it became very clear, I will say almost instantly, that I had a connection with that person. It's difficult to explain, but now looking back, I'm realizing, in fact, there was a question of timing, because there is a powerful spiritual connection with this man. There is a reason we have connected. And 10 months within our relationship, if I can call it a relationship, yes, it is a relationship, we have decided to write a book together. So we are co-authoring a book together. I expect the desire emerged for me personally that at some point I felt very powerless, because I was writing to this man who has been on death row for 19 years now, who, yes, he is or was a murderer. Yes, he has killed 3 people in the most horrific manner when he was 18 years old. But for the last 10 years, he's been on a journey of self-introspection and taking ownership of his creation in his life, stopping blaming and really embarking on a spiritual development all on his own in his cell, and is really an outstanding human being, I would say. His clarity to why he's alive is outstanding. He knows if he's still alive is to gain knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and radiate that knowledge in the world to further improve himself and as much as possible evolve as a human being. So by the time he is going to be executed or maybe go into a life sentence, we don't know. Arizona state might change, but the moment he is waiting for an execution, he is going to be at this optimum evolution as a spiritual being. So he has connected with me, who is also on that journey of spiritual evolution. So my powerlessness was that I'm writing with this man and I'm befriending this man, but I am absolutely powerless that he is going to be executed, and he is trapped in that very extreme life of isolation. He is in a cell, and he's been in that cell for 19 years with very, very limited human contact. And at one point that was very frustrating for me, and I think that extreme powerlessness I was feeling shifted into a desire to be really creative beyond our relationship, and this is when I submitted to him the idea that we should write a book together. I really didn't know how he was going to react to such a crazy idea, and he has been almost leading the project. He's extremely open, and yes, he really wants his evolution to go out of those 4 walls. So if we can do that together, that's our aim. The book is called Compassion for a Murderer, and it's really a dialogue between us two and the reader. So it's a 3 people dialogue about the importance of compassion in society nowadays. What is compassion, and what is the potential of compassion to change society for obviously more harmony with the planet and with each other.